I will say that I've been looking at my list and I feel like 3 of the things I mentioned are probably not too far from becoming reality. The first update that might be around the corner is Zany's welcome back to another emergency response Liberty County video. Zany's, the season brings it out in me, and today I thought it would be a neat idea to talk about the top 10 Christmas wishlist updates I wish would come to ERLC. These are all the things I love to have in the game, and believe it or not, these are all things that I've either been asked about in the game or even in the comments down below. A lot of people have asked, Zany, what do you wish we had in the game? So to answer that question, here's this video to hopefully bring everyone together, and let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments below. I do believe this is going to make for very interesting conversation in the comments. I'm going to begin with what I believe to be the least exciting thing to perhaps the most exciting thing, meaning the thing I probably want to see the most. I should also say that I understand and appreciate a lot of work goes into the development, so if anybody from the community is watching this, please don't take this as an insult or offense. Again, this is simply wishful thinking. We do appreciate everything that goes into the game. To start off the list, my number 1 Christmas wishlist update is weather. More than just the sunrise, more than just the sunset, more than just the occasional fall colors. I am talking about rain, I am talking about fall, and I am talking about maybe even snow? Is that possible? I don't know, but think about how cool it would be to be in a gunfight in the middle of snow or in the middle of the rain. Think about how cool it would be to be chasing criminals in your cop car, drifting in the rain, or maybe even using the rain to your advantage to get away from the cops if you are in fact playing as a criminal. And dare I say, snowball fights? I don't know, I'm just kidding, but weather would be really cool to see in Liberty County. The second thing on my wish list update is the ability to buy homes and not just rent them. Everyone should know by now that you can go to the housing track and rent a home for a series of hours. After those hours expire, you will be kicked out of the house and you'll have to do the whole thing all over again. You will lose access to the house. Think about how cool it would be to be able to buy a house, and every time you are spawned into the game, you are automatically teleported to your house, and from there, if you own the right house, you can begin to spawn your vehicles, maybe even store your weapons and lockpick and ATM RFID disruptors somewhere in the house. I don't know, that would be cool. I'm not talking about no Bloxburg type update or anything like that. I'm simply just talking about the ability to own real estate in the game. Even if the houses cost, $400,000 or $500,000, I firmly believe that to most of us, that would be worth it. The third thing on my list is enhanced vehicle customization. Currently, the only real thing we can do is repaint our vehicles. And of course, we shouldn't discount the fact that we can change the license plate with the occasional special event type license plate as well. But what I'm talking about is the ability to change the tires, maybe change the wheels, maybe add lightings, adjust the height and ride of the vehicle, possibly spoilers, and maybe even make a few of them into convertibles. Additional ideas include maybe engine updates, performance updates. I'm thinking out loud here, but the ability to further customize our vehicles would be a great idea, and I do believe it's something a lot of players would buy into because it would be more customization than just the pink or the yellow or the blue Corvette. The fourth thing on my top 10 Christmas wishlist updates is more building interiors. Zanies, take a look at downtown. While it's not a massive city, it is big for the map, and having the ability to go into more buildings would be amazing. It would give civilians and police officers, firefighters, everyone in the game to roleplay just a little bit better, especially if criminals are using it to hide out, or maybe if a fire breaks out on the 3rd floor of the skyscraper, something along those lines. All of you should know that we're really limited to the amount of buildings that we can actually enter, and really the only building that's available to explore as a civilian is the hospital. And I do say the only building because yes, I know that the sheriff's station and the police department and the fire department are all open to explore as well, but normally if you go in there as a civilian, somebody in that team is going to try to kick you out or ask you what you're doing in there. Having more building interiors would be great. The fifth thing on my wish list that I can already kind of see happening is off-road trails and dirt bikes and ATVs. Wait a minute, I think that's two things in one. No, but we're going to leave it as one, okay? So that's going to be number 5. Off-road trails and dirt bikes and ATVs. If you're a loyal Zany follower, I've already proven that you can go off-roading in the Bronco and the Jeep Wrangler. However, what I'm talking about is having vehicles that are dedicated for off-road use. I'm sure all of you already know that there's a few dirt trails along the map, but I'm sure you also know that if you try to take a Lamborghini or a Bugatti or any of those lowered vehicles on those trails, you are probably not going to get very far and you are going to get stuck. In fact, some of the lowered and smaller cars already have a hard enough time going over sidewalks. So having dedicated off-road vehicles for all teams across the board, maybe not the Department of Transportation, but certainly for the sheriffs and the police department would be great and an awesome update to see in emergency response Liberty County. The sixth thing on my list that I know has to be on everyone else's top 3 is automatic callouts for police officers and sheriffs. Now, I'm not talking about automatic callouts in the form of ATM or jewelry store heist or anything like that. I am talking about automatic callouts even when no one is involved, because right now the callout system is dependent and contingent on a civilian player going to the ATM and triggering that alarm. If you are playing on a near empty server, or if you are playing on a server that is full but not very active in terms of roleplay, you are not going to get any of those callouts, and the only XP you're going to earn as a police officer or sheriff is the patrolling XP that is given every single time the game cycles. Having automatic callouts like a building alarm or a house alarm or a speeding vehicle via the traffic cams or anything along those lines that will force people to respond would be a great addition to the game, and it would add to the player's ability to gain XP and not just sit around waiting for another player to trigger those alarms. The seventh thing on my top 10 Christmas wishlist updates is the ability to jailbreak. That's right, boys, Prisonbreak. Quick story, for those of you that don't know, several months ago, you did have the ability to jailbreak. It did require some prior proper planning or an accomplice, but the way it would work is you would be sent to jail. Once in jail, you would go down to the courtyard and to the outside, and once you were outside, you had to rely on a previously staged vehicle parked really close to the wall, or an accomplice that could come and again park really close to the wall. Once the car was close to the wall, you could approach the wall yourself and see an enter passenger or enter driver prompt. Once you clicked on that prompt, that's it. You were essentially out of jail. Now, this was a glitch, so the timer did stay on the screen and you eventually would respond, but nevertheless, the ability to jailbreak was there. Fast forward to today, that's been completely fixed, and so now in my mind, the way that would work is, let's pretend of a scenario where police officers now have the ability to search our bodies. Let's pretend that a police officer fails to search our bodies before we get sent to jail, and we get sent to jail with a lockpick kit in our pocket. Once in jail, we can use that lockpick kit to successfully break out of jail and therefore continue to be a criminal. How cool would that be? The eighth thing on my list that I just know is on everyone's list as well is nothing more and nothing less than the ability to steal cars. Going back to the lockpick kit, what about a hot wiring kit? We have the ability to disrupt ATMs, we have the ability to rob the jewelry store, and we even have the ability to break into houses. Why can't we break into vehicles, hotwire them, and go on a quick joyride? I don't think anything more needs to be said on this point here, just simply that the ability to steal vehicles would add a completely different dimension to the game. The 9th thing on my wish list that I will admit is a little far-fetched. I will admit that I'm probably bordering the realm of delusion, but having some kind of civilian ranking or some kind of way for civilians to gain XP would be awesome. Once again, I have no idea what this would look like. I have no idea what its purpose would be, but having some kind of hierarchy, I feel, would give players an incentive to maybe roleplay a little bit more, maybe take the game a little bit more seriously, maybe have something that they're working toward as a civilian and not just always playing the game aimlessly. I feel like I have to say it again. I'm not asking for no Bloxburger or anything, but just having some kind of ranking system would be great. And number 9 is a perfect segue to number 10 on my top 10 Christmas wishlist updates, and that's jobs. So many players have talked to me about this, and having jobs in emergency response to Liberty County would make a lot of people's hopes and dreams and wishes come true. If you agree, let me know in the comments below, because having jobs would almost force people to have to roleplay. Think about a time when you go to the jewelry store and you want to rob it, but you're confronted with the jewelry store owner or maybe even just a worker. Think about a time when you go to the convenience store in the game and you buy a bag of chips or maybe like an energy drink or something silly. Of course, they don't really have to serve a purpose in the game whatsoever, but just having that ability would increase players' desire to roleplay maybe just a little bit more than what we see now. Having jobs can also be tied into my 9th thing on the wish list when I talked about civilian ranking and civilian XP. I really don't know what form or what shape that would take, but I do know that those two can maybe walk hand in hand and be complements to one another. That does it, Zanies. I feel like that took me forever to get out, and I feel like my list is full of wishful thinking. What's on your list, Zanies? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to see your ideas. Before I let you go, I will say that I've been looking at my list, and I feel like 3 of the things I mentioned are probably not too far from becoming reality. The first update that might be around the corner is the weather. We've already seen the developers do this successfully a number of times. Of course, not to the tune of rain or snow or anything like that, but they've proven that they can very easily alter the environment and the atmospherics of the game. Number 2 is the ability to steal cars. You heard it here first. I don't think we are too far away from having the ability to steal cars. Think about it. This has been a slow but steady progression. Before, it was only ATMs. Then it was ATMs and houses. Now it's ATM houses and the jewelry store. It only makes sense, and it's only the next logical step to add the ability to steal cars. So that's number 2 on my list on things that might become reality sooner versus later. And the last thing on my list is off-road trails with dirt bikes and ATVs. If you ask me, I still believe that the Bronco is a tease. And the reason I say this is because if you haven't driven the Bronco or you don't have the Bronco, I encourage you to go buy it right now. It is hands down, by far and away, the absolute best vehicle in the game. And the reason I say this is because it is an absolute beast. It traverses over the mountains with no problem. It handles at top speeds like you're only going 20 miles per hour, and you can literally run this vehicle to the dirt. I have put this car through hell and back, and it takes a lot of damage before it's completely immobilized. And because of this, in my mind, I perceive it as the developers telling us, hey look, this is what we can do with the cars. This is how powerful we can make them. This is how able we can make them. If you ask me to place bets, I do believe we are going to see more off-road vehicles, potentially more off-road trails, off-road roads in the game in the very near future. Let me know if you think I'm right or wrong. I sincerely want to continue this conversation in the comments. But for now, this video has been long enough. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, Zany out.